What's up with y'all, man? It's the daily reaction. We got some good content today. I'm pulling something from a YouTuber. They name Real Kyia. I want to shout out Real Kyia. She be putting out some good information. Let's get right into it.
Lineage of Ham, the Anunnaki connections, and all types of history mixing in with other religions. Let's get straight into it. It's about to go up.
The lost and unknown years of Jesus Christ are the 18 years of Jesus' life between his childhood and the beginning of his ministry, a period that was not documented in the Old Testament. There are claims that a young Jesus actually made his way to India and Tibet to learn the cities. Humans cannot perceive all the frequencies around them, meaning there are entities in whole entire worlds, cities, and dimensions that we are not able to naturally perceive because they are vibrating at wavelengths incomprehensible to us. Although sometimes we do catch glimpses, as some people are actually gifted with the abilities to perceive parts of the other side. These are gifts that manifest as clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairalience, clairgustance, and clairtangence. These are the gifts of vision, hearing, feeling, knowing, smelling, tasting, and touching past the average human perception. Abilities such as these are connected to the siddhis of Indian religions. Siddhis, by definition, are paranormal, supernatural, magical abilities attained by ego-transcending disciplines and age-old practices such as that of meditation and yoga. Examples of a few are the ability to shapeshift, possess another, control the mind of another, become weightless, teleport, control natural elements, perform telekinesis, shrink to the size of an atom, and dying at will whenever one desires.
And this is what it said that Jesus was studying while he went missing. Okay, so now we do know he was an actual person. He was just a person who had the ability to operate himself on multi layers of dimensions. Actually, he have clairsentience, clairaudience, telekinesis, all of that. Certain people are born with certain activations in their DNA. Jesus was just one of them who was like real at the top with it. This is a little bit of what I found on the lost years of Jesus.
Yeshua, what's interesting is when he turns 12, he disappears out of the Bible. But where does he go? There's a very little known text named the Gospel of the Holy 12, where he actually goes to Egypt to learn the Egyptian mysteries. He then
Shout out to Billy Carson. I actually just watched that interview like 2 days ago.
goes to Tibet to learn healing with his hands and Reiki and Qigong. And then he ends up going down to India to learn the mystic arts. And he's teaching reincarnation, really is his primary teaching that he had, reincarnation, because really, if you're in essence, that's what the Bible actually is teaching anyway, but they just kind of shielded it from you in a way that, or worded it in a way that you didn't understand it. It's talking about getting a new body and a new name and all that kind of stuff. But regardless, he's teaching reincarnation. He reappears in the modern day Bible, coming on the back of a donkey, claiming to be the Messiah, according to the biblical text. The Bible says, "I call my son out of Egypt." That's when he reappears then, coming into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey at age of 32, I believe. And so, but in the Sinai Bible, which predates the modern King James Bible, he was never crucified, not even crucified. And what more recently they discovered the book of Jesus's wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, and this proves that he also got married. And so I don't believe he was ever crucified whatsoever. I don't believe it's just a farce made up by the Roman Catholic Church. I don't believe any crucifixion actually ever even occurred.
And one thing that like I'll take into perspective that I feel like other people should. When you watch information like this online or just in a video or from anybody that's just like a conversation, when it comes to certain information, like don't perceive everything as a fact and don't perceive everything as a lie. Just like I'll basically like weigh my options on stuff. Like it's half and half. I just give it the what if, and it's only one way to find out. That's just how I look at it. But I don't shut down certain stuff, and it's like sometimes it ain't a bad thing to like open your mind to just perceive to think like a what if. So this knowledge ain't bad. Some people don't agree with it, but you can't take everything into perspective because it's only one way to know. And when that time come, you will know.
I believe that the man lived, had children, and I think that his bloodline is called the Merovingian bloodline. And the Merovingian bloodline is still walking the planet till this very day. And he was put here to accomplish a mission, trying to raise consciousness, but it got twisted and turned dark really, really quick. And unfortunately, it turned into what they call a crap. I don't want to use the S word, but a crap show. They turned this thing into a whole thing that it wasn't supposed to be, unfortunately. The people in positions of power twisted it all around for control and dominance. And his message got stifled. The message was, we are gods. You are gods. As a matter of fact, he never said that he was going to return. He said the Christ would return, which is the Christ consciousness. There were many Christs before Jesus Christ. Christ have existed for eons. It's a level of awareness and consciousness. It's an ascended mentality. And when the ascended mentality, when that returns back to the planet, that's the second coming. Jesus was born at virgin birth. Now his mother, Mary, her mother was also born of a virgin birth. Now this is something that nobody ever talks about. Nobody ever teaches you this in Bible study. Nobody ever does this. Why? They don't want you to know. Number one. Number two, they don't even know half the time probably. If you go to the Apocrypha text, you discover that Mary's mother was a...
Okay, am I the only person who's seeing Billy Carson's Sanpaku eyes? Do y'all know what that is? Y'all know what that is? I know this is off topic, but his eyes is just, I don't know. Just watch this real quick.
Let's talk about Sanpaku eyes and what they mean, specifically when the whites are on the bottom of the eye. As you can see from Aaliyah, the whites of her eyes are under her iris. It's said that people with this typically live a tragic life and something tragic is approaching. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's something tragic regarding being unalived. A lot of times the eyes aren't like this naturally. They turn like this over time, and that's when you really want to be cautious that something dangerous may be approaching. Let's look at some other famous examples. This was like one season before Abby Lee went to jail and ended up in a wheelchair.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, that's creepy.
She was showing Sanpaku eyes, whereas in the first season she was not. This one's really interesting because sometimes Sanpaku eyes can also show people want to stop you, if you know what I mean. They want to prevent you, and what best way to prevent you than unaliving? Actor who played Gomez in the Addams Family was showing Sanpaku eyes. He passed away shortly after filming this movie, just 1 year after it was released, actually.
Well, disclaimer, if you smoke, you gonna have Paku ass. Nah, I'm just playing.
And Michael Jackson had Sanpaku eyes as well.
Okay, my bad. Let's just continue.
The virgin birth. Why is this significant? It shows that some type of
Fuck that. Billy Carson look tired, man. That's my last comment on that. That shit got me creeped out.
vitro fertilization technique was being used in ancient times, and to create a specific bloodline. Mary's mother came down that line, and then Mary, and then she gave birth to Yeshua. Now, what's interesting, if you look at a lot of these records or accounts of quote-unquote mythology in the Greek myths, they talk about these virgin births as well. Yeshua wasn't the only person to come from a virgin birth. There were many, many of these people that were born from virgin births. They all have very, very similar stories. They're all demigods. They're half human, half, not really a god that creates a universe, but they're half advanced being. In this case, Yeshua is half Anunnaki and half human, right? More direct to the bloodline that way.
I didn't say it. That's what he said. I didn't say that.
Part 5.6.
The Enochian verse that speaks of the first star that led the way of transgressing against God refers to the fallen angel named Azazel. Azazel's Mesopotamian name is Enki. Along with being symbolized by the fish, the merman, the dragon, and the all-seeing eye, as Enki was also called the wise, far-sighted one by the other Anunnaki entities, Enki is of course the serpent in the Garden of Eden and symbolized accordingly by the serpent. Enki is also the deity of fertility and virility, which is the male sex drive, and is also symbolized by the male genitalia, which is revered via erect-shaped structures called phallic structures such as obelisks, which were prostrated initially in reverence to Enki. Being that ancient Kemet was all about the serpent, it is no wonder that many obelisks have since been removed from Egypt to various parts of the world. The Vatican obelisk was originally taken from Egypt by the Roman Caesar Caligula. This obelisk lies in the center of St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, which is shaped shaped like the key-shaped Manat necklace of the ancient Kemetic sacred cow deity Hathor. Hathor in Mesopotamia was called Ki, Ki, the goddess who was the lover of Enki and the mother of the earth and supreme fertility and birth goddess. It is from Ki's name where the term Ki, K-E-Y, derives. So of course the placement of the Vatican obelisk is by design. This obelisk being placed inside the Manat necklace of Hathor represents Enki and Ki, who were mother and son to the ancient Kemites but were also lovers. As Enki is also the deity of civilization, sorcery, and wisdom, symbolically it represents the key to sacred forbidden knowledge and the key to divinity and enlightenment. But speaking of obelisks, there is also the great obelisk built inside the U.S. Capitol that we call the Washington Monument.
Stay tuned.
Literally everything is connected at this point. Have y'all ever heard of the Cathars?
I thought them was called monoliths, but hey.
They were basically, all of them were like off during the time of Christianity being introduced.
Cathars, the most successful Christian heresy of the mid-centuries, and this is one of them being thrown into a well and killed, and here's why. Catholics rejected the teachings of the Catholic Church as being immoral and inspired by the devil. They criticized the church for being hypocrites, greedy, supporting slavery, and acquiring land and wealth, which they said went against the teachings of Christ. Because the God in the Bible was jealous, hateful, angry, and a child, Cathars declared the God of the Bible to be the devil. The Cathars did something very unique. They identified the divine feminine aspect of the divine feminine face of God, which they called Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. The God in Catharism was both male and female. God is a king and a queen, divine feminine and divine masculine, working in perfect harmony. They also believed in reincarnation, and women held prominent roles. The Catholic Church declared this a heresy and alive, virtually eradicating Catharism.
Many thousands were slaughtered, hanged, or at the stake, sometimes without regards for age or gender. It was really that deep, y'all. Like, it's actually showing these were so much dangerous people, like, that they needed to be exterminated. That's sad. R.I.P. Okay, now y'all watch this stuff. This man's name is Dr. Yosef Ben Yochanan.
Moses isn't supposed to have been born until 1349 BC. The Africans were already in the 18th dynastic period. Akhenaten, who died before Moses was born, and Imhotep, who died more than 2,000 years before the birth of Moses, and others at the Grand Lodge of Mem had 42 laws called now the negative confession, one for each known. They go like this: I have not killed man nor woman. I have not spoken ill of the gods. Moses is supposed to be born in Egypt, they said, at a place called Sukkot. Already, it says that Moses got the 10 Commandments of Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is still in Africa, right? The Sinai Peninsula is a part of Egypt. More so, is it possible for Moses to be born in Egypt, educated in Egypt? At age 85, he's still in Egypt, and he did not learn the negative confessions. Is it possible for you to go to school, born in the United States, go to kindergarten, elementary, junior high school, and college, and never heard of the United States Constitution? Then it would have been impossible for Moses, when everybody had to read the negative confession 5 times a day, for Moses not to have seen those 42 laws and extracted 10 of them, leave 32 more. Now, if you could go to the temple of Setaiwan at Abydos, to go to the tomb of Ramesses VI at the Valley of the Kings, go to the temple of Edfu, where you would, by the way, see the story of an immaculate conception and a virgin birth 4,100 years before the Mary and Jesus story.
I was told this when I was like 7 years old. The 10 Commandments stemmed from the 42 laws of Ma'at. I just wanted to see if y'all knew. Now, I don't know why people don't know how to turn the background music down, but that's the clearest way I could get the message out to you. Now we're going to get into the connections spiritually that the Bible has. Not the Holy Spirit, but esoterically spiritual.
Well, a lot of people aren't ready for this conversation. Their cognitive dissonance isn't going to allow them to listen, but it would behoove you to put it aside and hear me out. Christ consciousness is consciousness of the soul. Certain religious groups will come to your door and tell you that only 144,000 people will go to heaven and live eternally as spirit beings with God. But that's actually a frequency. It pertains to how energy climbs up the 33 vertebrae, aka Jacob's ladder, until it hits the 12 cranial nerves. Do you see the correlation? 33 as the year scholars would say Yahshua was crucified. 12 cranial nerves as in the disciples who followed him in his journey. It's the consciousness of humanity that has fallen, We are to load him in his journey. It's the was crucified. 12 cranial nerves as in the
I just paused it because I wanted to see the pictures in the background. That's crazy.
disciples who followed him in his journey. It's the consciousness of humanity that has fallen. We are the light beings that have fallen from grace. Low frequency light becomes matter. High frequency becomes light. If you continue to operate in a lower vibration, aka your lower chakras, you will continue to sin. In order to raise your vibrational frequency, you have to do it through love. The Law of One teaches that Yahshua operates from the fourth density, which is the fourth chakra, the heart. In John 14-6, Jesus says, "No one comes through my Father except through me." Scriptures are nothing but parables on how Kundalini energy rises within you. The only way to escape the veil is to raise your vibrational frequency.
And with that, I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Thank you for watching part 3. Hope to see y'all on the next part.
Alright, man. That's her page right here, Real Kyia. Hopefully you can see that and the camera overlaying in a way. But yeah, hit that like and that follow, the subscribe button, man. We trying to build the channel up from nothing. Let's get it.